everything that we do can be done in a more perfect union with the force of gravity, right? That's kind of an accepted component to the overall philosophy. We're trying to use these meridians and these center lines and this incremental creation of wave-like muscle contractions. And that's done by stabilizing different sectors in different ways for different durations of time in different positions while looking at different distances of the world in all directions. And doing the same thing with your tongue, with your lips, with your shoulder carriage, with your abdomen. Everything gets a chance to be commanded. The more you do that, the more fluid it will become. The greater control you will attain, the more efficiently your body will operate. You will find a way to go through these muscle contractions, which are doing what? They're flexing the blood. The muscle tissue is there to move the bones. The breath is there to massage the internal organs and to bring oxygen into our bodies. We are meant to move and think and speak more gracefully. What's wrong with the design of our world? It's machine-based. It's not breath-based. What I was just thinking about was getting corporate sponsorships for these gifts to schools of enough uThrones for everyone to have them. So you get a different internal expansion when your hands are moving through this three-dimensional existence along these meridians at this speed. You're not activating those muscles. You're trying to internally expand the positions of the ribs and sternum. In fact, you don't want contraction there. Not while you're doing that breathing exercise. Now, why should you want that? Because that's encouraging the other muscles to expand as well. This is why the Superman profile, it's an exaggeration of a natural, healthy human frame. The waist is too small, the chest is too big. The breath is the first muscle to train. That's the invisible muscle inside. That's why the Chinese have internal martial arts and then external martial arts. The internal martial arts are always postural and breath-based. You see, I'm on just a board. This is the first stage of repositioning the hips. Think about it. The typical desk is problematic because the hip flexor is sunken. Our knees are elevated in the car, at desks, every time we sit down, every time we relax. Cozy furniture has a place in our society. But if this is how you're accustomed to sitting, we've got to teach these young people how important posture is and how important the furniture that we use can be in helping us synchronize these ideas with the positions that we use to articulate those thoughts and ideas that have been synthesized to some type of relevance on this issue. I love these meetings because they give me an opportunity to be in an environment of thought. Not thought about how many touchdowns somebody threw or who's the WWE champion, who's the I'm trying to think of something that's, what Ja Morant did. Did you see his dunk? Did you hear what Kanye said? These are individuals who are influential for a reason. And that shows the success of our society. How we can, how diversified and superficial, but extremely sensorially, the heights of hedonistic experiences can be felt by even 21-year-olds in the most rural backwater places of America. But then also, there's the experience that's contrary to that, of disciplined living in accord with fundamentalist explanations, devoid of an esoteric experience. Well, it's substituted with the kind of the magical thinking, the suspension of disbelief, the movie that religious stories play. That's what they were. They were, these cartoon stories, these ideas, these combinations of sound waves and symbols that can be interpreted by the people within our linguistic culture. Because there's that sector of the brain. How amazing was that? It must have taken us a long time, once that adaptation, once we became differentiated, for it to become apparent, and for us to segment ourselves. To segregate ourselves and accrete into groups. There were Denisovians, there were Neanderthals, there were a couple other branches of the human tribe, and there was a little bit of interbreeding. There was, there was the exchange of tool-making skills, and not all of those interactions were always violent, Human beings back then were afraid to die, too. I was watching a video of two cobras fighting. They don't use their fangs on each other. Now, they fight to win. It's almost like a boxing match. And it's about who can gain dominance of position. And they typically last for, 15 or 20 minutes or something. And it's just like boxing. It's just like these ways in which we compete, where we substitute fighting for life and death like true gladiators, but we don't kill each other. There's that tribalism, there's that group sense of each of our transcendent capabilities for synthesizing transcendent unifying ideas and implementing them and acting upon them, and then seeing the returns, seeing the benefits, accruing those returns, experiencing the heightened richness, the heightened dynamic, more trusting, safer, more disciplined, more consistent, but consistently dynamic. I want us to get to that peak, that peak level of understanding, that peak level of enlightenment, of absolute truths, and to have a curriculum for giving them to our youths, to anyone and everyone, to helping everyone activate these ideas, to actualize them, to understand why it's healthier, to understand why it's more liberating, why it's more balancing of our hormones and our biochemistry, and